Get this recorded, obviously. How was Thanksgiving? Eh? Little little arguments among the around the table there? Having a nice turkey, little Norman Rockwell action going on for anybody? Anybody listening here?
All really good.
Yeah.
Lots of food is always a good thing.
Was
Yeah.
good here.
What, Paul?
I said it was good here.
Good, 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 good.
Got a little snow actually. So
Yeah, actually, and you can see I'm in Florida and I'm wearing a sweater. So there's
must
that.
be must be 60 degrees or something.
It is 54, yeah.
Ah, gotcha.
It's kind of close. So, but okay, so we'll get into this. I mean, I don't think that this is one of those topics that I think sometimes could be interpreted as the master of the obvious. If you sell properties that cost $1 million, you're obviously going to make more money than if you sell a property that's $100,000. Okay, well, no duh. Problem is that a lot of people really don't take much of a focus on cultivating a more expensive marketplace. Or they're not, they may stop and think, I think there's some of you actually get in your own way based on the conversations that I've had with you. You don't swing in those circles. I don't know if this sounds familiar to some of you. I don't swing in those circles. I'm not aware of the markets that is beyond that. I don't live immediately in that area, and so on and so forth. So first and foremost, I want to just see who is working or trying to work the luxury market. Mandy, that means you as well. I hope I could get Mandy to chime in, and Andy Neal, Mandy and Andy. Andy, tell me about your marketplace. What are you? Who are you serving?
So I live in Windermere, which the average price point is about 1.5 million.
Very good.
Um, I've sold probably 6 houses above 1.5 million this year, so slowly breaking into where I live, but it's competitive. We got like Shaquille O'Neal, all the golf stars and all celebrities up here, like you've got in Boca. But there's agents here that have been here for a long time that have been passed business from family that get all those big listings. So
Sure.
I'm slowly getting there, but it's taken a long time.
Okay. And when you say slowly getting there, what happens over time that's better than, in other words, do you credit it to people understanding your brand? What are you crediting
Um,
your
okay,
success?
I think it's hard work and leveraging the listings I do get. For example, I just listed a house for a friend in Scotland, actually, a vacation home at 1.275 million. I had 3 offers, sold it for 1.4. So I printed a letter and hand delivered it to every single house in the neighborhood. One of them called me and said, if you've got a buyer, I'll sell for 1.5 million. I got myself a second listing from that. So I'm having to work hard to get them as opposed to people knowing my brand, which I'm trying to build through social media and everything else, but it's everyone else is doing the same thing, right?
Well, but maybe not. I mean, I'm speaking now with my team who aren't here. I gotta yell at them about that. But I'm talking to them as well about the price points and about where they want to be. If you didn't have that million and a half listing, you said you did 6 or 7 deals. What would be the alternative to that? In other words, what's the overwhelming amount of listings that you are subject to getting? $500,000 deals, seven
My
hundred
average
thousand,
price point is 623. So
six
six,
twenty-three.
yeah,
So it's literally nearly three times the value
yeah,
of that. Okay, important stuff to note. So, again, I want to go back to it. You've been essentially circle prospecting the big leads that you've gotten. Is that
right. Yeah, if I sell a house, I'll shout about it and I tell everybody about it. And that's the best way I can do it.
okay? Remember this, and I want all of you to think about this. In every community, there is Coke and there's Pepsi, and then there's everyone else. And I've said this in past meetings. Why, if you were honest with yourself and you said, if I said to you, name a cola, overwhelmingly, most of you would say Coke. Then some of you would say Pepsi. And if I put, oh, and Paul was not paid a royalty from Coca-Cola today. But thank you, Paul. Um, and if you were then pushed a little bit harder, you might think about RC Cola, Royal Crown Cola, or you might think of Shasta. But the reality is those brands are irrelevant from a market standpoint. I would argue that real estate is very much that way, that you're Coke or you're Pepsi, and then you're everyone else. You could also try and redefine the market as I am in my farm, where I want to be Snapple, where we're saying, screw it, no one's drinking Coke anymore. Let's come up with a brand that actually works. But the point is still the same. If you're going to see more and more opportunity with the smaller and smaller market that you actually market to. So I'd rather see, if you're trying to get into the actual luxury market space, you to go for 200 houses that are in the price range that you want to be in, and then you market the living shit out of it. You market the living heck, and that's something that you'll actually see a greater level of success. Why is this really important? Again, said it to my team. One team member wants to do $10 million in volume this year. Well, that's great. That could be one deal. Just stop and think about that for a second. You could do one deal, 3%, all done. You finished your year. It doesn't work that easily, obviously. But let's talk about the volume of work, and I want to get Terry in on this because I see my good friend Terry is joining us from Brooklyn. How much more work is a luxury home versus a less expensive home, or is it reverse that? Terry, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that the more expensive the home is, the less paperwork that needs to be done, shall we say.
Okay.
As counter to that, though, it can often be more hand-holding from an expensive seller because, well, my home is worth $10 million, and why isn't they're knocking down the doors to get it? Whereas like a one bedroom a co-op in Brooklyn has a lot more paperwork that has to be done and a little less hand-holding. So I personally would rather do the $10 million brownstone because, again, helps make your year a lot quicker and a lot easier. But there's an adage that my colleagues go by that the lower the price point, the more headache and more work.
Okay, very good. 3 ways for you to get into this marketplace. Okay, they're all kind of diabolical, so I don't know, but I hope I don't get judged. Death, divorce, and financial ruin. The holy trifecta. We love that. These are 3 things that actually happen within the community. Now, I know statistically within my farm, there are going to be 170 plus involuntary sales in the next 5 years. Okay, now before you guys judge me as a bad guy, I want to remind you, somebody's going to get the listing of the deceased. Somebody's going to do it. And if you live in Florida at a country club, damn it, you better embrace it. You better look at it and say that this is a fact of life and this is what's going on. You feel bad about it, give some of the money to your church or synagogue. I don't care. But knowing that, now let's take a look at what's going on. Now, why do I mention this? Because statistically, once again, despite the fact that you see so many young people with Teslas and all this money out there, in general, in most of your communities, you're going to find the greater wealth that older people get. Naturally, you get older, you hopefully make and accumulate a little bit more money. Feel free to disagree with that. I'm just speaking averages here. Terry, you look skeptical. You're muted now. Now you're just like blah blah blah. Hold on.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I'm just seeing a whole lot of Tesla. 2 Teslas got into a crash yesterday. It was very gratifying.
Okay, that's a little sick, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So great. So what are the things that I'm doing? I'm just giving you an example, and you could actually, choose to follow this or not. I'm beginning to research, again, 170 involuntary sales, meaning that in the next 5 years, the youngest person in the home is over a certain age that, based on actuarial tables, will likely pass away. This is just a reality, guys. Great. Terrible that they're passing away. Wonderful lives they lived. You want to get the deal. You want to get the business. I'm going to say it. Everyone else is afraid to. Finding out who the next of kin is and getting them on a physical mailing list is kind of important. In other words, especially when it comes to deals in Florida. I don't know how it's going to work in Brooklyn or in Kansas City or what goes on with that. But if you begin to take a critical look at the next of kin who's going to own the home, how are you going to be able to actually market to them? Again, if this pisses you off, I'm sorry. But on the flip side of it, this is one of the means of actually getting your name out there. And this is one of those things that I want you, if you want to get into the expensive real estate market, to figure out how do you get in with that crucial bunch of people that really, really matter. So one, I'm always trying to get the email and snail mail addresses of those folks. What are the ways you're trying to get in? Anyone could chime in. Paul, Paul, you have a very expensive clientele in your area?
We do, but I personally, my average price point in our county is about 350 right now. So we're not really high up there, and we're in the Kansas City area. So, but there are areas. I mean, Patrick Mahomes lives 15 minutes from me in an $8 million house. So it's a private place, a private gated community. So there certainly are opportunities nearby. Our broker from our office actually lives in that gated community, and he's only done 2 deals in there in the last since he's moved there. So
Hold on, but how many homes are in there?
God, I don't know. It's constantly growing. A couple hundred at least.
Okay. Then
It's a very it's a golf and lake community. Very well. It's a very nice place, but it's on the other side of the state line in Kansas, which is 15 minutes away. The price point's higher, nicer homes, and I'm licensed in Kansas as well, but I've not done a lot of business over there. That's kind of why I tuned in. I want to figure out how to get in there in a higher price point.
sure. It's, again, first and foremost, you actually have to have a target when you're actually saying the higher price point. And you
True.
got to paint the image to them. Now, I've always said to all of you who come in here, and Andy and I had this conversation before, the problem with most realtors are you are putting yourselves on as a master-servant relationship when the top agents that I see, they really are peers with the people they're doing business with. It's not an excuse to give crappy service. I want to be very clear about that. But what we're getting out of most people is they're saying, great, I'm going to almost enslave yourself. It's a horrible way to be, in my opinion. When the reality is, if you see these top producers, they're going out, they're having lunches, they're going to parties, they're going to events. They really are acting as a top consigliere, if you will, as opposed to a service person. So, number one, mindset, write that down. You guys really have to come up with an actual mindset that you're going to be able to go toe to toe with the people that you're going to meet. Two, notwithstanding what I said about the Coke and Pepsi in the neighborhood, there's always in every community the anti-Coke and anti-Pepsi people. That's the ones that will take the people from outside of the community, or they'll go with somebody else. And believe it or not, there's even people who live here who don't like me. Very strange. Need to send them to a psychologist. It's a proven fact. I'm the nicest guy in the world. But that said, it's going to be a reality wherever you go. And if you could try and identify those things, I would say the one thing that I'm getting out of this group over and over again is that you're not taking your marketing seriously enough. If you are now trying to reach those critical 170 people, we know who they are. Fucking A, market the living hell out of that. It's not that tough. It's not if you get who knows how much a postage stamp is these days? 45 cents? 50 cents? How much is does no one sends letters anymore? Paul does. Paul, you got to unmute Paul.
I think it's around 64 cents for a mail for a stamp.
No, it's 64
Yeah.
cents.
It's
Yeah.
around
He's
there.
right.
Oh, let's see what.
Yeah.
Okay, Andy's got. Oh, look at Andy's looking, but it probably says forever. It doesn't even say the price. Okay, so 64 cents. So terrific. Let's call it $1 a mailer if you're getting really nice stationery, and it's not. It's less than that. Now that 170 people that you're actually writing, if you were to send a physical mailer to them, it's $170 a month. Not a heck of a lot of money if you're going to actually reach out to them monthly. But I'm not asking you to do that. What I'm saying is, in this instance, if you're looking at next of kin and if you're trying to be able to do the research, to set a goal over the next quarter, I'm going to have all 170 families in there. Let's divide this up. It's going to be about 55 people per month, or roughly 2 or 3 a day during the work days, that we're going to add to the database of next of kin of these folks. Again, you guys want to judge me, knock yourselves out. I'm just telling you what works. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just saying that it does work. And from there, to be able to get them on the mailing list and be able to reach out to them on a fairly regular basis, none of your competitors are doing this. Do you know that? Nobody is really going after it in this particular way. And the reality is, going back to that Coke and Pepsi relationship, why do people remember Coke and why do people remember Pepsi and why do people go and get a Mercedes or a Volvo or a BMW? Because the capacity for remembering brands is very, very small. I wish I had that. I was looking this up this morning. There was a study done about luxury brands, and it's just, you really reach the pinnacle. There's so few options that people just don't get all that creative. On a day-to-day basis, you're not thinking that much about a whole lot of stuff. It's really just a concentration of energies. Um, the average person, I'll say average American, has about 1,000 words in their vocabulary. Well, I think there's about 1 million words in the English language. So once again, this goes back to human nature. There's only a certain capacity for it. This matters. So bear with me, guys. You're going to be able to go out and leverage and use the fact that they've seen you over and over and over again. If you look at my mailers, it's going to be a giant picture of me, a house on the other side, sold in whatever community you want. I'm going to pimp out the last listed price. Let's say it was 3 million, but it only sold for 2 million. Last listed for 3 million. You want to get whatever the number is that's actually high enough. Great. Credibility is there. Credibility is there. Now you've actually reached a marketplace that really matters. By the way, for those of you, I'm not saying give up on the $500,000 listings. We have plenty of them. I think that's great. All I'm saying is, if you want to try and open up a marketplace for yourself, you're going to have to A, work on yourself and actually believe that you're worthy enough for the job. That I can't really help you with. You're going to have to do some soul searching and find it for yourself. Two is to identify the actual marketplace. A lot of people say, yeah, I want to sell luxury homes. Great. Where are the luxury homes? And three, what are you going to do to actually reach those people? I've already given you one, next of kin. Other people have said divorce attorneys, although I've yet to really get anybody get business out of a divorce attorney. Okay, Paul, you got to unmute yourself again. I'm curious. What, how much business have you gotten from a divorce attorney?
Well, just in the last, well, a year ago, a local attorney got his real estate license, his broker's license, and he called me. He wanted me to come work with him, and I told him no. I enjoyed where I was working, but we remained friends. So I've got 2 referrals from him in the last 6 months for divorces, and both are a little extra complicated because both involved Chapter 13s as well as the divorces. So there's a little extra stuff, but they're both good business, and he didn't want any kind of referral fee because he said that might be a conflict of interest. So it's a pretty cool deal. And I actually had a client just buy one of his listings that he was selling from an estate sale, or an estate. So it's kind of been worthwhile. And I rejected his offer for a job. So it's kind of cool. So
well, so Paul, we've got some good synergy going here, because I'll tell you this, it goes right into what I want to bring up next. The service providers of your target market, whether it be a wealthy market or a middle class market, whatever you might actually want to go. Have you built a list? Now, in this case, Paul has at least one, which is this attorney. But what other service providers can we actually network with who might find a value from us? Okay, Andy, go ahead.
Probate. I had 7.375 million this year from a probate attorney, and 4 of those houses were my biggest listings. One at 1.8 million, which I got both sides on. He had another house at 1.4, and she gave me another one at 1.4, another one at 1.2, another one at 1.3. So she's given me a lot of business just from a relationship I had with her by giving her a client.
Okay, and is she licensed? Are you giving a
No.
referral fee? No, it's just because you do a good job.
I'll give her business where I can, of course.
Yeah.
In return, she gives me what she can, and she knows I get the job done.
Good. And I say that as well. I'm hearing from people, there's some people running around here. We're going to start our own title company. What do you mean? Well, a bunch of agents are going to invest and we're going to put it in. We're going to be able to pay ourselves back a dividend at the end of the year. I'm like, I got to tell you, I've got 2 title companies that I work with. They're fantastic. They will not let me down. And if they make a money doing it, Zeigezund, we love it. Go get your money. Go get your money. I think that's fantastic. So, if you're able, Paul, Andy, to make a relationship that actually pays off, That's a big thing. Right now, I'll tell you that my team is receiving leads from a hedge fund that's growing exponentially here. And we've now done 4 deals with them. They've been rentals, some of them high-end rentals. And when these rentals end, they're bringing in all these people into Florida. Um, we are hoping to be able to get more sales. Whether that works out or not, time will tell. It really depends upon how well my team keeps the relationship going with those people. But wouldn't it make sense to continually find a source that feeds business into you? Now, again, I said from the beginning of the meeting, it's a bit of the master of the obvious, but I want all of you to wrestle with this, to really stop and think through what is going to get you into the community that you want. Well, we know from Paul, we've got a divorce attorney. From Andy, we've got a probate attorney. Who's got some other vendors? Come on, let's share this here. We're all in different marketplaces. Okay.
One more I get business from is a hard money lender.
Okay.
They're called Benworth Capital down in Miami. They send me deals to Orlando. Whenever someone can't afford to pay them back, they take the house back and they give me the listing. And one of them was 1.4. And then the other one, he referred me to another hard money lender in Cuba. I've got a listing right now, 1.45 million. So getting in touch with hard money lenders is a good idea.
Okay. Daniel, who's always standing ready for this. Daniel, we'll review the notes at the end. I think this deserves another meeting at some point, getting on the list. If I could get all of you guys on the list, wouldn't that be pretty cool? Wouldn't that be pretty great that you continually get business fed into you instead of the hamster wheel of God darn it, I just did a great deal. Believe me, being able to get that resource where I know as sure as the sun will rise, the phone is going to ring at least a couple times this week because my history has proven that. Because my history has proven now most of the leads, like everything, don't really work out. I mean, that's just life. There's a lot of things, but more and more they do. And we close and get deals every month as a result of this. That's what I want for this group. Who else has got some resources that we could speak to? Okay, Paul and Andy, you guys are like playing here.
So I have a couple that tie together. If you hear noise, that's my puppy. I apologize. I work with 2 senior communities with the salespeople who help people move in. And in conjunction with that, I work with 2 estate sale ladies. They each have different territories because they're with the franchise. And I have had them join me on listing appointments more than once. So we left those listing appointments with a plan for the estate sale, a plan for when we were going to list it, and all that. And it took about 2 hours. And it was a great 1-2 punch with the estate sale person with me, because previously I would give them a phone number for the estate sale person. They'll call them in a week or 2, set up an appointment in another week or 2, and it just dragged out. So I just take them with me and let them know we're coming, or they're coming with me. And it's been a great method to help get that business. So
amazing. So look, guys, make note of all this stuff. These are things that you can do now to be able to build the business and get more and more opportunity. Let's find just some other ways, other resources, getting on that list. Lisa in Scottsdale, maybe, or Lisa Combs. Come on, guys. I want you to chime in. Rich is here. Eddie Glantz. Come on, you guys all chime in on this stuff. I'm trying to get Rich. Hi.
Hello, Edmund. But
Hey.
I just logged on here, so give me an update real
Okay.
quick.
Well,
I got most of it.
no, what we're saying is, do you have any particular categories that are going to give you business or that have been a lead source for you in the past, particularly into the wealthy?
Yeah, children of the people who I sold homes to.
Okay, next of kin.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about before. You see, guys, and he wasn't even here to hear it. So that's great. What are you doing to market to them?
I'm just friendly with those parents. And I see them multiple times during a month. So, but you're right. I need something more formalized, obviously, because I'm not doing business that I need to be doing.
Okay, listen, and again, all this, I'm a huge, I reject regret. Today's the new day. We go on with the next step to be able to build this up and to be able to get more and more opportunity. If you guys want to build opportunity within that community, first and foremost, be a peer, not a service provider. Serve them and work your butt off because it's the right thing to do, not because someone has a gun to your head. I think that's really, really important for you to think that way. And I think you'll see the next thing is to actually find the top producer in your office and find out what the heck are they doing? What the heck are they doing to actually get in there? Now, I've seen this work in a bazillion different ways. There's a guy in my office, he's an ultra Orthodox Jew. He lives in an ultra Orthodox community. And guess what? His clients are ultra Orthodox. Lo and behold, not such a strange thing. And they happen to live in a community that is relatively close to a synagogue. And as most of you know, if you're Jewish and Orthodox, you need to kind of walk over to synagogue on the days that it's supposed to on Shabbat. So this guy actually found a way. I said, great, what other kinds of models can we get and use? Well, I've met other people who've had children who are autistic, and they are part of a whole community of families that have autistic children. Again, I'm not telling you to pimp out your kid. What I'm saying is that these are things that actually work, the relationships that you actually need. I've spoken before about the Alcoholics Anonymous. I've had a few people in here who are part of AA, many years sober, bless them, that's fabulous. And most of their business comes from the program. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. They go in multiple times a week, some every day. They're meeting a core group of people who they're growing very fond of, and they're having their database restocked with new people that come in. What's the difference between that and what I'm telling you to do? Everyone's going to run off to an AA meeting. Yeah, the room's filled with liars and cheats. Fuck it, you might as well. But the point that I'm making is this. Find your muse. You got to find your muse. What is going to actually take you in to that next level? Let's talk about the service itself. Andy, I'm going to pick on you again. These people are going back. You're okay? Can't find the unmute. Should I pick on Rich?
No, go ahead. I was printing it. It was noisy in the background. So go ahead.
Okay. No worries. So, as far as the feedback is concerned from your lead sources, what have your customers actually said to them? In other words, I give you Joe Schmidlap to sell his home. Joe's going to speak with me probably about whether he liked Andy or not, right?
Right.
So, I guess the feedback has been pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, if you do a good job, the feedback's always going to be good, right?
Well, one hopes.
Yeah. I mean, you'd like to think so. I think that shows in the reviews that you get. I think too many people just stop the deal and move on to the next one, but it's a long relationship, isn't it?
It should be.
It is. And one of the ones that the probate attorney gave me led on to another client from another client because those clients were happy. And I shouted about it. I get a review. You share that all over social media. You show clients your reviews. Yeah, they've definitely been happy.
Okay. Let me throw one other thing out to all of you. The human capacity for knowing people. How many people do you know? Anyone want to have a guess? Maybe, kind of, sort of? Okay. You know by first name. And we're talking about your best friend and your dry cleaner. Okay, so this is pretty much everyone in your circle. You know by first name anywhere between 325 and 500 people, depending upon how you socialize. That's your, we'll call it your first degree sphere. That's who you actually know. You do not have capacity for that much more on the first person level. Now, mailers are something else. The list is constantly changing, so it's very, very hard to track. But if you really stop and think through, and if you drill it down even further, I would cut that in half and say you've got about 150 people that you can consistently get in touch with, that will know you, that will immediately return your phone calls. What are you going to do with those people? This is the important part of the meeting, guys. So you should be taking notes here. What are you going to do with those 150 people? Because let's go a step further. If you have 150 people in your first degree, and they have 150 people in their first degree. You see where I'm going? Anyone? You got about 20,000 people in your second degree. That's leverage. And that's what I want you to really stop and think about. In other words, Brenda is in my first degree. Her best friend, who I've never met, is in my second degree. Now, how we get Brenda to introduce me to the friends is a whole other conversation. And my thought is that if I asked her nicely, she probably would. Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe.
Maybe. But the point is that if we're going to make the success that you really want and deserve, you're going to need to find a way to leverage the people that are already there. Here's the thing. Going back to my alcoholic example, the reason people will go back to drugs and alcohol is because they have the same people in their lives that are still doing drugs and alcohol. If you hang out with, and again, I wish I wrote this, it's a fabulous thought. You are the sum total of the four people that you hang out with most consistently. If my kid has like horrible friends that do horrible things, they're going to more likely go through that. So you need to decide for yourself what's going to be the people that actually enrich your career. Now, again, master of the obvious. You didn't need to go to this meeting to find this out, but you did in a way because you haven't really stopped and thought it through. If I could have a wish for all of you, that would be that you make an exhaustive list after this meeting where you really make up just who is in your sphere and who is likely to be the lead source for you that's really going to matter. If you could really go through that exercise and then together we could build a campaign around that person. I want you to build a campaign around those 150 people. So in the very least, you need to get their birthdays. I've got an automation. If some of you got it from me, I'm sorry. It was an automation. But you get an email automatically sent to you, and there's a dog jumping up and down on a trampoline saying, Happy Rich, you got the birthday note. Okay, that was an automation, but it's nice. It's nice. It's better than getting a bill. And yes, I hope it didn't take the joy out of it, Rich. I really do wish you a happy birthday. But that is one of the things that we've got going on there. It is one of those things that says all the other realtors didn't bother to do that. So that's great. What are you going to do? Let's build a marketing campaign around each of those 150 people. And let me make it even easier for you. You're going to do 2 a day over the next 3 months. You're going to do at least 2. In that time, if you work 20 days a month over the next 3 months, 2 a day, that's 40 a month, 40, 60, 40, 80, 120. Okay, maybe you need to do a little bit more than 2 a day to get to that 150. But you know what I mean. Within a quarter, you're going to be able to build a campaign around those people that matter most. Here's the thing. Most of you won't do that. Why? Because you're not getting the immediate shot. You're not getting that immediate high of getting the deals. But I'm telling you, it will work. It will work. These are folks that matter. These are people that will really be able to pay off. So capture, reward, automate, and plan. That's my law of crap. You've captured these people already. Now you need to be able to reward them and automate them with knowledge. What information needs to go? Andy, your probate attorney. What can you do? And I'm sure you're doing stuff right now, but what can you do to stay top of mind aside from giving the great service? Might be a moot point with this particular person, but share some thoughts with us. Then I'm going to go to Paul, and then I'm going to go to Rich.
Just to rewind 2 minutes ago, you said about the people you hang around with influence your life. 100%. And the alcohol, my dad was an alcoholic and he died from alcohol because he drank so much. My dad.
I'm sorry.
It was 10 years ago. He was 62. But every time I tried to help him and I got him back to where I want him to be, he'd go and socialize with his friends who all drank in the pub. And it kept on, that cycle kept repeating itself until he killed himself. So it's true. You're absolutely right. You've got to hang around with the people that you like or you want to do business with. Completely agree with that. I think with the attorney, like for example, I send her a gift every time she sends me a referral. When I get closed, I send her a hamper or just something to show my appreciation to her. And I think she loves that because every time it's something different. So she looks forward to getting that, but she also looks forward to giving me business because it makes her look good in her client's eyes.
Sure. Okay. Love that. Anything else? Anything, with regard to, that's enough for her, but as far as other people, how do you stay in touch with clients?
I'm not very good at it, I'll be honest with you, and I'm happy to be honest about that. I'm not great. I do send a quarterly text, an event, Happy Christmas, but not enough. I need to do a lot more.
Okay. Paul, what are you doing to stay top of mind with your divorce attorney?
It's still a newer relationship. I mean, I've only got 2 referrals in the last 6 months, and they had an open house at Halloween where they were giving out candy and stuff. So I stopped by to visit with them and the team. There's 6 or 8 attorneys, and stopped by to say hello because One of them I hadn't even met in person. It's been primarily email. But yeah, I need to make a plan to do something consistently with them, and then I guess that's something I should do. So I need a better system there. So,
Just you mentioned Halloween. I'm glad you did. I haven't done it, but I've seen it done and it works every time. I need to do it for next year. I got to remind myself of this. The wine station for the parents.
sure.
You know, I live in a gated community. The kids drive the golf carts and go trick-or-treating on that. Setting up a wine station. I've seen this done. The parents actually drive by, the kids get their candy, the parents get some wine. Very little money in that, guys, right? I mean, and that goes along the Terry Robinson kind of mindset of free coffee. I'm doing free wine, so it's a little bit better there, I hope.
I like yours better.
Yeah, I like mine better too. I like mine better too. You know, Rich, let me pick on you just a little bit. It won't hurt, I promise.
Okay, go ahead.
So do you have any means of staying in touch with folks? If the answer is no, that's fine, but I'm just curious.
Well, you know what? I wanted to mention, I ask you a question.
Okay.
You or make a comment. You mentioned about the 2 a day over the next 3 months, and the majority of us, they're not going to do that because we don't get an instant hit. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to really focus on it and try to do that. But normally speaking, it gets just caught up in 1,000 other ideas that are there that keep getting up and down on the sequence line of what I want to do.
Sure.
So I get lost with shiny objects. Okay. And this, you know, maybe you say it's not a shiny object, but it's another way of doing things that has worked for you in the past. So that's just my own problem that I have. And I'm sure a lot of other people in this call have the same issues.
Not just a lot, everyone.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay.
Everyone. You're not unique. I hate to break it to you, pal.
Yeah, well,
Everyone.
you know what? It really is a real problem for me. Okay. In regards to getting in touch with people, I don't have a formalized way of doing it. I'm lousy. I'm lousy at follow up on my people who I've sold homes to, who I form a real close relationship with all of these people, and then it's like the sale's been made, and yeah, I'll call a couple times, but there's nothing formalized. So
Okay, so here's a prescription to help you along. You ready for it? Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
I love this technique. I think I have blog posts about some of these techniques. It's called the Pomodoro Technique.
20 minutes.
No, 25 minutes exactly. 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of rest. 25 minutes on your iPhone. There's the timer. And no matter what, you're not going to go to social media. You're not going to click send and receive. Guess what, guys? That's not working. Clicking send and receive over and over again, you might fool yourself into thinking that you're working, but you're not. 25 minutes of uninterrupted whatever you're going to do. For example, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you can guess my background. So these are my letters. I do set 25 minutes every day to write at least 3 letters within my community, handwritten notes to the people that I know here. Why? My handwriting sucks. I've got every reason not to do it. My handwriting sucks. I don't always know what to say. You know, there's all this stuff. 25 minutes. That's what it is. We're ripping the Band-Aid off in that time. That's what's going to happen in that time frame. And you know, you'll also say, "Oh, 25 minutes. That took so long. Why did it take so long?" Well, got to make sure that the property's not already on the market, right? Got to find out the proper address, right? Got to find out when the person actually bought the home. If they just bought the home a year ago or 6 months ago, getting a letter from me would be a little silly, right? So these are things that I actually set out to do, and it's working because the Pomodoro Technique, if you get through anything that you really want to do but don't want to do, it works great with taxes, by the way. It works great with actually sitting down. And if you wind up just from that, you say, no matter what, come hell or high water, I'm going to put 25 minutes into it. And Rich, for you, I'll do you a favor here. Let's cut that in half and make it 13 minutes or 12 minutes.
Oh.
Just make it even less. Break it down
My
into
attention's
morsels.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, and then you'll be able to do this. And you know, if you really take a look, but here's the thing, Rich, before you do all that, make a critical list of the things that you want to try and accomplish when it comes to your marketing in the next 30, 60, 90 days. What stuff do you think you really could commit to in that time and just narrowly focus on those 2 or 3 items. That's it. It doesn't mean that you can't post on social media. It doesn't mean that you can't chase that other shiny object. I'm not going to stop you. Okay, it's a futile effort to stop that. But what we can do is make a will do list, not a to do list, a will do list. And your will do list is going to be those 2 or 3 things. To me, letter writing is very, very important. Okay. To me, working with Daniel later today to get my weekly email out. Any of you get my weekly email? Maybe. If you want my weekly email to see an example of an email, please put something up in the chat, and we will definitely send it to you. I see a couple of email addresses actually in here, but yeah, put your email address in there. You can send it to Daniel Bogen Homes, or you could just post it right in here, and we will give you my weekly email. We love to actually expand that list. I love to build relationships with all of you if you haven't gotten it already. But that's it. One of the things, there is stuff that has to be done. I made an article, which I sent to Daniel this morning. He said, do we have any photographs? There is time segmented to actually get that done. The email goes out. I don't immediately get a phone call. I don't give up, right? You just don't stop. That's really a very, very important concept. Okay, Brenda's been like trying to get it in here. Your little
I'm
head.
looking for the little hand thing on the bottom.
Go ahead.
I'm just
Brenda, first of
wondering.
all, you're wonderful. Tell everyone who you are and where you are.
My name is Brenda Wolf. I've been in Hoboken, Jersey City for all my real estate career, and I've just moved down to Florida, and I'm trying to do work on both right now. So that I'm kind of struggling with Florida. So like these are some good ideas right now because I'm starting really from scratch. I was just curious about what I used to send a letter to my building every quarter just with stats. Can I ask you, would you share with us like what you put in your letter or kind of things that you send out to your neighbors?
The individual letter is a handwritten note that is supposed to be as specific to them as possible. So it could be something like, yeah, I made a typo on this, so I tore it up, but let me see if I can put it together. Hey, Max, it's been a while since we last spoke. I hope all is well for you and family and that you had a great Thanksgiving. I'm writing to see if you've considered selling your home. There are very few properties available right now, and homes that are listed are selling for top dollar. Can we get lunch? I'd love to be able to chat with you about it. Sincerely, Edmund, 561-235-7575, or something along those lines.
I always think people write some grandiose thing, but I mean, that's, thank you.
We're not changing the world, guys.
I keep thinking about what Tom Ferry would say, done is better than perfect. And I keep trying to say that to myself. I've been working on a buyer's packet for like 3-4 months. And I'm like, I just wanted to fix one thing, but I keep analyzing and going back. And finally I'm like, Brenda, just get it done. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Brenda, just get it done. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let me, and while you're saying that, I'm going to look at my note cards. So I've got this in here, and I've sent in the last, when am I tracking this from? I've sent in the last 2 months, 79 letters. So even I broke down on the 3 days a week. It's important for all of you to know that. The 79 letters have gone out in that time, and I've gotten 4 responses from the letters.
Great.
4 responses. And in those responses, yeah, I'm glad that I got that in the, I'm just curious to see what you think my home is worth. Somebody else called me up. He just bought a house for a bloody fortune, bought a lot. He said he put about 12.5 million into it. I believe him. He said if he could get 17 million for the house, he'd sell it. I said, if I could only be 35 with a washboard stomach, we all want stuff in life. But he's agreed to have lunch with me. There's another guy as well who told me that he does want to sell by end of season. So somebody do the math for me. 4 out of 80 letters. That is 5%.
5%. Yeah.
It's a 5% response. Okay.
That suck.
Right? I mean, considering that now you got to decide for yourself, is that worth your 25 minutes a day? And as I already pointed out, I'm a bit of a liar because I said if I was doing really 3 a day, then in 2 months I'd have 120 if I did a 5-day work week, right? but I didn't. I had 80. The point of the story is this: because I actually made a plan, it actually happened. And there was some, and because I'm talking about it now, the psychologists say this is called conversationally committing. I'm actually committing to this by publicly putting it out there. It's kind of like saying, I will lose this much weight by this particular date. Very few people want to say that because why? They don't want to lie to themselves. They say they don't want to lie to other people, but they don't want to be caught in their own lie. They don't want to be caught with their own commitment. So this is the time of year for you to be thinking about 2025. This is the time of year for you to think about what you're going to actually commit to, that you're going to put it publicly out there. And if you fail, you got that embarrassment, which, by the way, shouldn't be embarrassment because it's only disappointing yourself. And it's not even that, if you try and you work really hard to get to from A to B, so what? So what if you don't actually make it? This year, my team did X amount of sales. I gave the team a challenge. We're going to do 20% better in 2025. Now, my history of sales has been, had 40 million in sales, dropped to 25 million in sales, did 31 million in sales, so the trend is over time going up, but I had a very good year this year. So theoretically, if I follow the past, I'm going to go back down. We're not going to let that happen. And I'm putting that out to all of you right now. And we could come back to this meeting, and every couple of months you could say, so Ed, how are your goals going? Put me on the spot. Doesn't matter what you think. It matters what I make. And I say that to all of you. It matters what you really do with all of this. Look, that's my my sermon today. Hassan, thank you for putting your name in there. Daniel, if you could grab that. And if anyone else wants to get on the email newsletter, please do put your email address now or send it to Daniel at Bogen Homes. Also, for those of you who've gotten us the information, let me just give you a quick tour. You could take a look at the map. This is the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. Anyone know what that's from? Dora the Explorer? No, maybe. These are agents from around the country that are a part of our mastermind here. There's Greg, I don't know, Greg was RSVP today. So you can see the different people that are in our mastermind. Oh, Brenda, there's you. So
I should be writing to everybody and letting them know what I'm starting a new area in Sarasota.
Okay, so do it. Get it out there. Get your information to Daniel at Bogen Homes, and he'll get you on the map as well. If you have questions about the mastermind, please do let me know. Daniel put that map up in the chat so you could go and see that. It's also on the private Facebook page for our mastermind. And equally important, we are doing CMAs for clients now. We have a CMA a day program that we are putting out there. If those of you are interested in learning more about our marketing service, please do send an email to Daniel at Bogen Homes and we could book time and actually meet up. That said, wants, needs, and brags really quickly. Now's the time for you to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. Brenda, you started saying something. Please go right ahead.
Oh, well, one thing I just want to mention, I don't know if anybody saw my note, HomeBot has been a good tool for me because every time I sell something to somebody or they buy something, whatever, I put them into my HomeBot, what do you call it? Into it for a CRM. And it tells them it'll send out a note every month and tell them how much their house is worth, and they can go on at any time and see it. And you see how much the loan is and everything. So I can go back and say, hey, Edward looked at this 4 times. I wonder if he's thinking about selling. So that's a good way for me to call people and just check on them because I know that they're probably at least thinking about it. So that was just a suggestion to people. The other thing for a need, if anybody knows another agent that works 2 different states, not like in New York, New Jersey, but separate, let me know because I'm trying to figure out, do I have to do 2 of everything? Can I combine them? I don't want to be doing 2 Facebooks, 2 websites, do all that.
You should talk to Paul. Can she talk to you? Can you guys get beer and chips after this? Terry likes the beer and chips.
We're just neighboring states. I mean, I don't know. It's like she said, it's kind of like Jersey and New York. You might look up Shelby Rochester. She used to work Georgia and Florida, a decent drive between the 2. I assume she still does, but yeah, it's pretty much the same from each state here. I can do the same marketing for both states.
Okay. Well, if
So
anybody
Brenda,
can let me know, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Look up John McSherry. He does Southern Florida and New York City.
How do you
Nice
spell McSherry?
McSherry. Yeah.
MC Sherry, like Sherry the girl or Sherry the wine, or I mean,
Sherry the wine and share it with me. No, John McSherry, MC Sherry.
okay, cool. Thank you.
I think Dan O'Neill is also in Connecticut, New York, and Florida, I believe. So
He's not
he's
doing Florida
he's
much
a,
anymore.
oh, he's not in Florida much.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought he did. So, but never mind. So
All right, put it on, guys.
What
Thank
other
you.
wants, needs, and brags? Anyone want to brag about something? Anyone need anything? Anyone?
Okay, I got a new guy on my team, got his first listing. We got an all cash offer within 4 days of it being on the market. I am very happy and very proud for him.
That's awesome.
Great.
Good. Look, celebrate these wins, guys. And I think that that Rich said it best, that it's very easy to get sidetracked with all of this, but the goal is really what's going to take you there. You got to really stop and think through just reverse engineer everything that you do. How did I get all those deals this year? Where did they actually come from? What are the threats? What are the opportunities? What do you need to do to get from point A to point B? You want to meet and talk about it? Let me know. I'd love to. And that's it. If no one else has anything, Terry, you got your voice ready? Rich,
Ahem. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm ready.
this is the part of the meeting where I love to say it really was great having all of you. It's so nice being able to talk about our goals and how we're going to expand. And I look forward to seeing all of you next Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another exciting episode of
Rain Nation.
Hey, boy, that's just puts a little wind in your sail, guys.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah,
Makes
love
my
that.
day.
Okay, good to see everybody. Take care.
Have a
Thanks so
great
much,
day,
everybody.
folks.
Thanks, Edmund.
Bye.
Bye.